Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. I'm really excited to see what we get to discover today. I'm going to throw out a word that maybe at first glance might seem a little bit negative, but I think in light of, I don't know, it's just the word that kept coming to me. And so it's what we're going to focus on. And that word is isolation, gratitude for isolation. Sure that all of you have been touched in some way by the media with the coronavirus, and we just got a notice in our email yesterday, my husband and I, that our church is not going to be meeting together for the time being. Unknown how long that's going to be, but we're not going to be doing our Sunday congregations, and that's it's kind of like a new level hitting home of how this coronavirus is touching us, not through being sick, but through this sort of isolation that the world is that our leaders are kind of asking us to do. And one of our live callers is from New York, and he said, in New York, it's really hard to stay 6 feet away from people. There's just a lot of people. And so I just think it will be really good and interesting for us to give some time to focusing on what we might consider a negative thing, and see if we can find, see what gratitude we can find. So I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds, and we're going to have a private silent meditation on gratitude for isolation. And just write down whatever comes to you. This will be your personal inspiration on gratitude for isolation. Begin. All right. The thought that came to me was an incubator, like an incubator when a newborn baby is premature or has some sort of problems where that baby needs to be isolated from even its parents, from any outside germs that might be introduced too early before that baby has an immune system to be able to fight them off. That physical isolation is actually a really good thing. But we also know, back in the 60s and earlier, if a baby was put in an incubator, they saw any introduction of germs as bad. And so even nobody, not nurses, nobody was allowed to even touch that baby other than just to administer the basic medicines or whatever. And that actually babies died in isolation. So there's, I think, a balance with what we're experiencing to make sure that we have that physical contact. I also thought of the germ that was, that created this coronavirus, that and other germs, when they want to see how a germ is acting on its own, they isolate it. They put it on a petri dish or whatever and let it grow without anything to interrupt its growth, and it grows. And so isolating a germ and not combating it, not introducing an immune system that could combat the germ, allows it to grow. And I felt like that's, a really good analogy of how, if we have a limiting belief and we, isolate it and protect it and don't let anything get in there to fight it off, that it can be allowed to grow. So those were some of the thoughts that I had. Who else has something they would like to share?
I'd like to share.
Great, thanks, David.
I was just thinking in terms, because you're isolated doesn't necessarily mean you're alone.
Mm-hmm.
What we're doing right now is a perfect example of how we can get together and share,
Mm-hmm.
and not alone. Although we, like right now, I'm in the basement isolated. It doesn't make me feel like I'm alone. Also, we have Zoom. We can always, maybe Zoom each other and just really, see each other as well. So, yes, we can isolate, but we can also be together. Time for prayer, time for God, and also some beautiful things. Thank you, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm super grateful for technology. And also I love that you introduced prayer. We're never alone. Thank you. Who else?
Well, I was thinking about how at one point I may have felt left out, being isolated from others.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful now for being home wherever I am, being home within me, for the chance to be still, inside and out. Because even though you're by yourself, sometimes you can still just be so wound up that it's like, it's just still like there's influence all around you. But now there is peace in being isolated, in isolation. So it's a place where you can go to actually hear yourself and God speaking to you. So there are times in life where we need to get out or step away from the energy of others and the busyness, like New York, the constant, where so it's a nice and a beautiful thing and a necessary thing to be isolated, to see clearly, and I love that prayer. Is always a part of it, because even when I was isolated and felt horrible being alone, there was always God there.
Awesome. Thank you. A couple of things I wanted to add or just share, that came to me as you were talking, is that Jesus, in the Bible, there were several times when he would say, I'm going to go up into the mountain and connect with my Father. And he would go consciously make a choice to isolate himself, because he was constantly around people. And it's important, for us to take that time to be alone with God. Also, the other idea that you introduced, if we're not really okay with ourselves, if we haven't found that love and calm within, if we can't go to isolation and not judge ourselves or judge that other people are excluding us, or whatever, that being isolated, our minds can kind of get going and start building stories inside of our minds that are mostly not even true, but they can really create havoc in our lives if we, in that isolation, if we use it for to build limiting beliefs and stories around how something is that isn't even necessarily true. Who else?
I have a thought. Michael here.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
I wrote down isolation, a time to reflect, a time to plan, a time to study, and challenge yourself. So you remove yourself from distractions. You might choose another path in life, and you reflect on how you'll get there, how you'll do it, how you go from point A to B. But you're also isolation. You're allowed to dream, and in that dream, you can be anywhere, become the person that you want to be, thought you could be, and you're never alone because you invite all those within your mind.
Mm-hmm.
You can even travel by reading a book. You isolate yourself, you read a book, and you find yourself in new land. So I'm thinking of a good thing is that it's a time to challenge yourself, to grow, and to become anew.
Awesome. I love that. Just that idea of removing distractions. If you remove those distractions, you can be open to see new solutions. And I love that idea of just going into your imagination and dreaming. And, it's been proven that things that happen in your imagination, your body can't really tell the difference. Like your mind and your body can't tell the difference. You'll be just as rejuvenated if you read about, and imagine yourself laying on a beach as if you actually were on a beach. I've tried it before and it works. Thank you. Any other thoughts about gratitude for isolation?
I could share. It's Sean.
Thanks, Sean.
Mine was kind of similar to that, just kind of regaining focus on what's important. Maybe that's, with all the events going on right now, kind of knocks you out of your old patterns a bit and makes you think, what really is important. I have like grounding yourself, the words like coming home, kind of like coming to your truth. And I can't even read the last thing I wrote down, so I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome. Love that. And we really need that, don't we? We need that coming home, and that separation to be able to really understand what our truth is, instead of trying to copy someone or do something because somebody wants us to, or or we're asked to show up in a certain way or whatever. We need that to really understand who we are. Any last thoughts before we move on to our permission process? Thanks, Rachel.
I always need to come in.
Rachel, you're a little bit muffled. Can you change your mouthpiece a little bit?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Thank you.
Thank you. I was thinking of a time to organize and declutter and create space for new things to come.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and because that's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. I know when we're not expected, and we, almost like can't go do things, then it leaves us in our house to, it's like we can't escape all the things that we could do. There's no excuse. Thank you. All right. Let's go ahead and take a moment. Just take a deep breath. Double check your phone. Make sure you're muted. Just get yourself completely isolated right here. The only thing you can hear is my voice. and just being alone with your thoughts, with your inspiration, listening from highest source of information. Just see what you can learn today. And the first question I have, or the first invitation that I have for you today, is to be conscious and proactive about your isolation. That rather than having any kind of an idea or thought that this is mandatory or it's safe or it's, reducing risks or any of those things that might be based in fear, I invite you to look at this opportunity. I love what Rachel was saying, that she's already got a plan for her isolation, to be really open to know, what is this isolation for? That rather than that this is an isolation to get away from people or things that, might harm us, or that we might interact with people that we might harm, that we actually use this as a choice, like a self-chosen isolation, and to choose a positive reason for this isolation for you. So every one of us is an individual. We all are in a unique position. We all have our own unique relationship with God. And so it's an opportunity right now for you to really be aware and know, what is this isolation for? And maybe it's just the isolation that you're taking right now, this moment in time, or maybe it is the isolation that is being introduced because of the health issues that are happening in our world today. What are you choosing? What are you inspired to use this isolation for? And as you're becoming more aware of what this isolation, the positive reason for this isolation, just be open to know, for God to teach you, give you any information that you need for your journey that you're embarking on, this journey of isolation, this solo journey. And I invite you to also, in your meditation, to be aware of how you still get to connect. Connection is a basic need. Physical contact with people, also emotional, physical, social, mental, all of those different things to stimulate our growth outside of ourselves. So what are the ways that within this solo journey you get to connect, to continue to grow, continue to invite the influence of others into your life, and that you get to still influence others? Get maybe 2 or 3 different ways that over the next little while on this solo journey, how you will still be an influence and also influence in positive ways. And being aware of what this isolation is for, and also how you get to connect. What is the one most important thing that you could do today to really embrace this idea of isolation, and to be able to utilize it in a way that is positive, and you'll be able to look back on this with gratitude? What's the one most important thing? What's your inspired shortcut today to looking back on this period of isolation with gratitude? And as you're considering this inspired shortcut, and the other things that have come to you, what is the limiting belief that would stop you from having the best experience possible in this isolation? What is your limiting belief that would kind of throw it off so that it's not as positive an experience as it could be? And as you're becoming more clear with that limiting belief, you know that a limiting belief always comes with a cost. What is the cost of having this limiting belief? How will it affect your solo journey and the outcome of gratitude that you're hoping for? What will it produce instead? And if you don't like that outcome, if you don't want to create that, to allow that cost to continue, then you get to give yourself permission to choose a new belief. And if you're ready to do that, say yes.
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 Awesome. So what are the new beliefs? What are the new beliefs that are going to empower you to be able to embark on this solo journey with confidence, with peace, with gratitude, with excitement, and also to be able to connect with people in the way that is perfect for you? And that at the end of your journey, you can look back on it with gratitude and realize that this was actually exactly perfect. It was exactly what was needed. In a moment, I'm going to open it up for some shares. And I do want to offer myself one thing that's really, really awesome about the work that I do is that I can do it in isolation. I can be on the phone with people, and I can do my Zoom calls, and I can do my gratitude call, and everything that I do, I can do without leaving my house. So I love that. Super grateful. And in a moment, I'm going to open it up for other people to share. If anybody is feeling isolated, or if you're feeling like you need some extra support in this area, whatever came up for you today on the call, if you need that extra support, just go to askwylene.com. So far, we still have internet. As far as I know, that's not going anywhere. So you can go to askwylene.com, schedule a 15-minute call with me. It's a free call, and we can connect. This is a way that you can connect with people, with me. Is there somebody that would like to share something about their experience today?
I'll share, Wileen.
Okay, thanks, Tammy.
So this time of isolation for me is to strengthen my relationship with Christ. It's an opportunity to have one-on-one time with Him, and the ways in which I get to connect are spiritually through God's realm. I had an experience a couple days ago where and this was a very simple thing. I was getting ready to go somewhere with my kids in the car, and I needed to put brake fluid in our car, and the brake fluid cap was not coming off very easily, and I just said a simple prayer and asked for help, and I felt one of my grandfathers, who is not physically on the earth, come and assist me with that. And I've had other experiences that have shown me that those who have passed on are able to help us in this physical realm. And I'm very grateful for the connection that we have with those who have passed on.
Oh, thank you, Tammy. I know you have a gift in that area, and what a beautiful use of that gift. Thank you. I'm sure that there are people who are just eager because you do have that connection, and just eager to wait for you to ask. Thank you. Wait for you to connect. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, I have a thought.
Thanks.
There is permission in isolation. You have permission to be still. You have a permission to do the things that you have permission not to think about going out and doing all those other things for people or whatever. So you just have permission. So I have permission. That's how I felt when I knew I was going to be home and not go anywhere. I thought, you know what, this is great. Now I can leave all those thoughts of busyness and doing whatever, which I'm pretty, I've gotten better at. But it was just a real conscious, I have permission to now just be home. I have permission to not do anything other than what I want to do at home.
That's awesome.
I get to read. That's one of my things is I get to read today, and I get to work on my schooling, but I also get to do my own personal reading. My limiting belief was, well, others, that's still, others will think I need to be doing something different. Well, well, it doesn't matter. There's resentment in others, thinking that they know better than I do about what I need to do. So, but that's okay. And I'm happy to sit and read today. I'm enjoying the permission process of isolation, and I give myself permission to enjoy being home.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. That's a great way to end our call. I'm really grateful for everything that has been shared, and yeah, thank you. If you have other things that you'd like to share, go to the Facebook group, Breakthrough with Gratitude. We'd love to read about your thoughts, your new beliefs, whatever it is that you'd like to share. I feel like one of the best people that we can connect with during this time is ourselves. We can definitely connect with God. He's always there, and we are always going to be with us. We are our own best friend. And I think this is a really awesome time for us to figure out, what do we like? What do we want to do? This is like, having that vacation on a beach, just sit if you want to, and just get to know you. I feel like this is just a really great opportunity to do that. And I give you permission. If you can't give yourself permission, I'm giving you permission. But you really don't need permission. You can give yourself permission to do anything. Well, thank you all for being on the call today. It's Friday, so we won't be together Saturday and Sunday. I do invite you to continue your gratitude practice, continue doing your daily GPS, connect with God, connect with your own self, and continue, asking what those inspired shortcuts are, because this is more than ever where we're not going to be connecting with people just on a daily basis, just by going wherever we go. This is an opportunity for us to consciously even connect with people, that we have to actually choose to do it. And so, I do continue to invite you to continue those interactions, physical interactions, social interactions with people, whatever honors you, whatever feels right and true and perfect, and for sure asking for your inspired shortcuts every day and following through with those without fear, with just the calm knowing that God is in charge, He's over everything, and whatever we get to experience in this life is all for our good, and everything comes together for our good. Thank you all, and we'll look forward to Monday morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning.
love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.